It's very easy to put Lane in every single coaching
And
search, but the
we
bottom
get
line
it.
is,
Like, we get it, right? Like,
well,
totally understandable.
this is a man who was a complete nomad before he came to Ole Miss, but he's now been at Ole Miss 6 years.
Right.
And LSU came open, Auburn came open, and he entertained it. USC came open, Alabama came open. I mean, every major job, and he was floated for all of those jobs, and he's still at Ole Miss because Ole Miss, like Texas Tech, has invested fully as a community, as the Ole Miss community writ large. They have poured money, finances, resources, and really Lane's got a very special circumstance at Ole Miss that very few coaches in college football have: complete and total autonomy.
Yeah.
Complete and total autonomy. His whole family's here. He has laid down roots. It's just easy because, of course Lane would, and it's Ole Miss. They still say, well, Ole Miss is Ole Miss and Florida is Florida. But really, when you look at the resources and where things are, Ole Miss is has on better program footing right now than Florida is. So if you're Lane Kiffin, first of all, make it make sense to me outside of, it's Florida and you're Ole Miss. That's just old lazy nonsense that we used to talk about. This is not
It used to be about money.
Yeah.
Right? It used to always be about money. And that's why when I talk to people about Lane and they go, well, you're an Ole Miss guy. First of all, Ben will tell you, I am an Ole Miss guy, diehard, grew up in Oxford, but I'm also a very sensible, reasonable Ole Miss guy.
You're a normal human being.
Oftentimes, I'm going against Ole Miss. Okay, I'm very skeptical. Like, I'm not just a true-blooded homer. I've never been able to do that because I just have too much anxiety about that program. We're not going to get into that right now. But people love, when I bring this Lane Kiffin thing up, they're like, well, of course you don't want him to leave. He's your coach. That's why you say that. I'm like, tell me the incentive for a guy like Lane Kiffin to leave. People say money. Well, so-and-so can give him more money. Sure, Texas. If Texas became an open job and they came after Lane Kiffin, I'm sure he would leave. Like, you can't beat that. Even in NIL, if Texas decides to get it together, which they have, they will have more NIL money, no doubt about it, right? There are certain jobs I 100% think he would take. But Ole Miss can match the salary of most schools now. You definitely have the NIL budget. And like you're saying, the entire family is there. His daughter is going to Ole Miss. His son is the quarterback at Oxford High School. I'm assuming, is Chris Kiffin still there? Is he still in town?
Chris is here. His entire family's here.
Chris's whole family's there. Yeah, Chris's son is like the mascot, the unofficial mascot outside of Juice Kiffin.
Has taken over for Knox because Knox, grew up and he can't do the fire extinguisher anymore. Now it's Cookie. I mean, like it's different. It's different considerations than what it used to be. So it's easy though because Lane Kiffin's past, reputation and all that kind of stuff. But it's just not who he's been at Ole Miss. So it's a silly conversation.
I think he's to me and terrible year to bring up this because I think the Mike Gundy Oklahoma State union might be over. But to me, he could just become a Mike Gundy type figure in Oxford. If people always had Gundy leaving, he's going to go take another job, but he never did.
And now he's going to be gold.
Now, I mean, every shelf life, right? We always talk about shelf life, and his is over now. But I think for Lane, that could be the situation in Oxford where it's it's too good. Unless something just you can't pass up on comes up. It's going to be...
But that's happened already. That's what I've been saying. That's those can't pass up jobs have opened, and he's been floated as a candidate. Here's the thing, though. I love how everyone goes, oh, you're Ole Miss, so obviously you don't want Lane to leave. Buddy, this is different now.
Yeah.
If Lane were to leave, at worst, they're going to hire Pete Golding, the highest paid assistant in the SEC, to be their head coach. But they would. You don't think John Sumrall would want to come here? Eli Drinkwitz is probably going to be the Florida head coach, in my opinion, if you made me guess. If you said, Ben, who's going to take over Florida? Eli Drinkwitz. That just makes way too much sense. Fran Brown at Missouri doesn't make any sense. But, you don't think that Ole Miss, if it wanted to talk to Fran Brown wouldn't talk? That's insane. Ole Miss is in a place where it doesn't sweat any. They had to have Lane Kiffin specifically 6 years ago.
100%. They
needed an identity. They needed just desperate for anything and everything enthusiasm, and he gave it to them in spades, right? Mm-hmm. And it's been a little bit of an adventure at times, but Lane and Ole Miss has been the perfect blend and marriage of program and coach. It's going to be really hard to replicate that at Florida because, honestly, he has job security till the end of time at Ole Miss. Yeah, you think at Florida, if he wins 8 games, 9 games 1 year, they're going to be okay with that? No. So
they turned on him a year ago.
Yes.
Remember the fans going into the Ole Miss game? Well, we're going to take your coach, and then they beat Ole Miss, and it's we don't want him.
It's funny how that goes, but Ole Miss isn't little Ole Miss.
Right.
If Lane were to go, okay, Go hire the next guy. And John Sumrall would be atop that list.
Right.
And John Sumrall would be great.
There's plenty. You're right.
There's plenty of coaching candidates. And like, because Ole Miss is operating as a top 15 program.
Right.
You know who isn't operating as a top 15 program anymore? Florida. They don't have the same type of commitment to resources as Ole Miss does.
Right.
They have more fans, sure. But also, they're paying out a lot of money for bad mistakes. And the enthusiasm gap is significant.
Yeah.
Ole Miss got so worried about Lane Kiffin leaving for Auburn, they raised $10 million in 3 days. I bet you Florida can't, like, it would be really hard for Florida to raise much money right now.
This is what people don't realize about a program
it's ridiculous,
like Ole Miss.
dude.
They look at it, it's a small town, it's a smaller fan base and alumni group compared to other places, but they think, well, so the money's clearly not there. Like, if we wanted to, our school could raise more, but here's the thing. Yes, it is a smaller alumni base compared to other schools, but they got money still, bro. And because it is smaller, they are more likely to be involved with the school. You know, people ask me all the time because I live in Atlanta and I've covered Georgia Tech. Like, why isn't Georgia Tech good? Georgia, think of all the smart tech people and the doctors and the engineers and all these people with money. They don't care about Georgia Tech football. That's why they're not good. Half the kids that go to UF.
This year, though, Georgia Tech is awesome.
No, they are. But I guess their point is, like, why aren't they a perennial power? Why aren't they competing in the NIL space? And it's like, hey, because you have to have the enthusiasm and the culture to want to support the program. Ole Miss, it's all about Ole Miss football. That entire town is built around Ole Miss football. So if you go through that school, even if you're not from that town or you've never been to the South, you end up leaving wanting to give money. You know how many people that I know that went to Ole Miss? I'm from Oxford, okay? I think I'm a part of the Alumni Association or something. I give them $100 a year. It's something, nothing. It's basically nothing. I had friends that came from New Jersey and California and Texas and Georgia. They give a whole lot more money to Ole Miss than I do, okay? They also can afford it. I can't. I'm a poor journalist, right? But that's my point, is like, you go through that school and it's so endearing. You have such a good time that you eventually want to give back. And so people always ask me, like, where are you guys getting the money from? It's like, people give a shit, man. People care. They want to. Remember when we were trying to, quote unquote, raise money for Quinshon Judkins? You had people in, like, Clarksdale, Mississippi, like, giving $5, Pascagoula, wherever. Like,
it's not like, where's all this money coming from? Well, everybody over at Ingomar Baptist, once they give their tithing on Sunday, want to turn around and be like, oh, you need help with Quinshon? Sure. You know, like, I mean, it's a community.
Everything, yes.
Like,
it's a
you
community.
ask any player, and they'll tell you the same thing. Yeah, it's not the same hustle and bustle as L.A. or, even Atlanta. But, dude, this is now a football factory. That's what Ole Miss has been turned into.
Just go look up some of the people in business, some of the quote-unquote rich people that went to Ole Miss. Just do a Google search of the wealthiest people that went to. You would be shocked. A lot of people would be shocked at the New York Cities of the world, some of these places these people live and the things that they've built. And it's just, you go, oh, okay. Yeah, you guys do have a lot of heavy hitters.
What was the long-running joke? With a long-running egg bowl joke. Well, you are the elitist. The doctors and the lawyers.
Doctors and lawyers, yeah.
Well, what do doctors and lawyers have, friends? Money. Scratch. And, like, they care about football here. So the lane, I don't even want to have it.
And remember, Ben, remember this, for the longest time it was, well, Ole Miss can't, y'all can only win when you pay, you got to pay players to win, dating back to the Tuberville era or the Hugh Freeze stuff. It was always, well, you can only win when you pay players, and now we can pay players.
and now that Alabama isn't the only program that can pay players, Alabama's falling back to the rest of the pack. Crazy how that works.
Yes,
crazy that, like, now there isn't if you walked out in the old days to the Alabama practice facility parking lot, it would look like a Dodge Charger, lot. It was just Dodge Charger after Dodge Charger after Dodge Charger after Dodge Charger after Dodge Charger. Buddy, now it's all even. You're telling the money school, oh, all we got to do is pay to be good at football? Oh, I could do that. Yeah, I might have to, even like the teachers, school teachers, they're wearing their Ole Miss pin on Friday.
Yeah.
Waiting for payday to come. They got like $200 in their bank account.
Oh, dude.
But, 50 of it's going to friggin' Quinshon Judkins if they need it.
You know
They
what's
care.
crazy is I'm 30 now, but when the Grove Collective first launched, it's been what, maybe 4 years, 5 years now?
Been a minute now.
It's been a minute. Like, I was in my mid-20s, and everybody's just starting out in their careers. I remember, this is in Atlanta, being around Ole Miss people. It was like a thing to have that Grove Collective polo, man, or that visor. I mean, and it was like you had to give money. Everybody's like, "Oh, dude, are you part of the Grove Collective?" Like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I sent in my money. I'm waiting on my welcome bag or whatever the hell gets you the polo. But that was like a thing and so that's just Ole Miss and Ole Miss culture. It's built around like that kind of fraternity.
Everybody's in on it.
It's
Everybody's
a club. It's a
part of it.
tribe. Yes, like you want to be involved with it. So, not to get off on a complete. This is what Ben and I do when we get on podcasts. We just get on tangents.